That is amazing. Oh, I get in here. Lights on deck. That's what's up. I see the floating lazily through the market like a peace, everybody. I won't forget the day the sun came shining in. Shalom, Chris. What's up with you, bro? As you can see, what's up, Max? What's up, Alex? Look, man. Peace, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Nice vibes, because, you know, we taking it to the south. You know what I'm saying? We going down south. So, you know, we ain't on the west coast today. We are going to the south. And you gotta be in them vibes, bro. It's so different. You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah. I'm making sure I straight up take it to the south. The Congo. Okay. Peace, Sister Cassia. Peace, Sister Manera. How y'all? No. How y'all do? As you see, I'm gonna be getting it because these next straws, you know what I'm talking about. We gonna it's gonna be fun, you know, for real. It's gonna what can I say? You know, what can I say about this? I already said, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is one of my earliest memories of seeing this movie. Actually, I can remember it the first time I ever went to the East Coast when I was a baby, you know. First time I ever went to Newark. I don't remember nothing about it, but I do remember them sitting me down and leaving me in a room and playing Shaka Zulu, you know what I'm talking about? So, yeah. So this is the television series, you know, Shaka Zulu, when we going from episode, you know, 1 and 2. And, you know, hey, we gonna have fun. I'm gonna be fanboying it out. So, these pieces, you know what I'm talking about? I won't forget the day the sun came shining in. Peace, Sister Moksha. Sun came shining in. Hey, the song be getting it, you know. I can tell you, them Southern boys, they get it, bro. So anyway, let's get into it. Okay. So at the start, what's good about this TV series is it goes from the end to the end to the beginning to the end. You know what I'm talking about? And what I mean by that, at first we start with the epilogue. You know what I'm talking about? And it's in what's up with your brother Zach? How you doing? As I already told the brother Zach, we taking it to the south. We taking it to the south on them today. You know, we are taking it to the south. We bringing it to the south. I'm telling you, I'm ecstatic about this. But anyway, so at the epilogue, it's the narrator says England, August 1882. At the end of the Zulu Wars, and then you see King. Yeah, oh, bro, we popping the trunk and we popping the trunk and getting out our assegais and our shields. You know what I'm talking about? And we running barefoot. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. Um, and so it starts out with King Seswayo meeting Queen Victoria. Now, if you know anything about Queen Victoria, you know what I'm talking about. There isn't a monarchy in Europe that ain't related to Queen Victoria, and you know her diamond jamboree and all that other stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But he meets Queen Victoria because he wants his kingdom back. You know what I'm talking about. And if you know anything about this time, it's the end of the Zulu Wars, which you know Britain being who they are, colonial power in the South and everything, and they raging war on the Zulus, and then you got Isan Luana and Warwick's Drift and all that good war stuff. You know what I'm talking about? And what's amazing is people forget, that one of the famous people that died was Jerome Napoleon, which was the grandson of Napoleon, the legitimate grandson of Napoleon. And so Sesquire's meeting, Queen Victoria. And you have everybody speaking, against basically Sesquio being put, back in power. If you ask me, I don't think they said it, but the guy that had the mustache, around his, upper lip and whatnot, he looks like Lord Chelmsford, which basically the general or whatever that was in the Zulu Wars, and the Zulu sent him back to England. But we ain't gonna talk about that. You know what I'm saying? And but he says something. We're called upon to defend Africa. Like Africa need defending. But but see this. What I'm talking about. And then he goes to talk about how the colonials that lived there, the British colonials, and as he says, the Kaffir tribes, which for us, we know that meaning because it's the same thing as the N-word, so it is what it is. That's why we sort of seem like we got a connection with those brothers from the South more than we do with the West. You know what I'm talking about? But hey. And so they bring up Shaka Zulu, and then basically I guess you could say the professor of the bunch, he goes in on Shaka, talking about his reign from 1816, 1828, and how he changed the Zulus from a harmless herdsman into a Spartan army of warriors. You know what I'm talking about, and which is interesting, and then he says, how his empire can be like that to that of Napoleon, and then treachery as that to Genghis Khan, which is exaggerating everything, because if you know those, the Khanate and the Mongols, it's like treachery, whatever. And then he talks about how Shaka was a messiah, and how he was like a Mistopheles, promising the Zulus this and that, and then Queen Victoria, it's like enough. And then the interpreter's like, should I interpret all of that? And then here you got well, before we get to that part, the general calls for the economic and militaristic dislocation of the Zulus, and he says that they will revert to the bliss that they once had before Shaka, like they know. It's like, who do you tell me what bliss is? You see the arrogance, but you're gonna see that arrogance, with them, with the Americans and the natives, like, oh, we're gonna put them back to bliss, when they were just so-called herdsmen, they weren't warriors, whatever, like they didn't have a fighting bone in their body, right? Like something is bliss like that. But here is a people that's trying to decide your destiny, and that's how they talk to you. Then another general says, uh, return to the plow might be therapeutic for these savages, might be even a blessing, like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? These were, I want to say, they cattle rustlers. You know what I'm talking about? They're cattle rustlers. they're herdsmen, but you put them on a horse, shoot, man, I bet you they can be very formidable with cattle in that way too. You know what I'm saying? They rustle cattle on feet though. That's it something if you ask me. But hey, and so like I say, the interpreter is like, shy, interpret all of that, and then Seswayo speaks and he's like, we have so little in common, especially, our concept of human respect. And I saw that as a dig, what I'm talking about. He's like, these uncivilized white folk, that's why we have so little in common. Y'all don't even know how to, understand the concept of human respect or human civility, what I'm saying? But I'm the savage, what I'm talking about. And which is interesting, that this coming from him, because it reminds me of what Dr. John Henry Clark said about Seswayo, and when he said Seswayo is just like Nkrumah, he left at the wrong time. You know what I'm talking about. Which, he's right. The timing was off. Even if he's going to get back in, but it ain't gonna be the same. So after that, Queen Victoria is like astonished, and she's like, "Thank you, Your Lordship." She wants to talk to him personally, one-on-one. And then she asks him, what does Shaka Zulu mean to you? Yeah, monopoly on snobbery, brother Zach. So Seswayo says he's one of those rare men, who have the courage to, to live his ideals and instill them into the, and instill his dreams, into the hearts of his countrymen, And then she says, that is precisely why we can't give you back your kingdom, You are the king, but it's his spirit that rules your kingdom, And then she, said, we are a practical woman, Your Highness. We would not, form an alliance with a legend, which is interesting that she said all of that, that his spirit rules the kingdom, got me thinking about, when she said one time how, there are some Orishas that can rule over your family or things of that nature, But yeah, But if you think about it, Shaka was God tier, in a sense. So after that, she leaves the room. And what I like about this scene at the end, you can see, Seswayo, he's just fuming. But it's an emotion you pick up on, what I'm saying? It's subtle, what I'm talking about. And then, a narrator comes in and, talk about, how, the dissolution of the empire and how, the Zulus can only dream about what they once had. And this is their story and whatnot. And then we get to the dang opening thing. And let me just say, because like I said, I'm going to be fanboy. out on this one. The opening theme is just phenomenal. You got you got the bass voice, just keeping it to boom, 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 boom. I mean, come on, bro. And then you got just nothing but black faces coming up on the screen. Looking all regal and ripped and just good and beautiful. You know what I'm talking about? And then you just got scene by scene by scene. Actually, you're going to see in the movie. Well, not the movie, but you're going to see in the TV show, right? That you're going to see in the TV series, but nothing spoils you. You know what I'm talking about? It just tells the story, and then then you got "We Are Growing Higher." It's just beat. You don't feel it, man. I don't know what to tell you. And then you got Henry Sully just standing there, just looking all cheap and whatnot. With the spear, just looking all pimp. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just amazing. You know what I'm saying? Then we go to Southeast Africa, 1822. And at this time, narrator tells you that, this is basically the first time the Europeans are feeling the ripple effect of Shaka's war machine. And then it's 1823, which is sort of weird. Why would you have that break, But he tells you about how, Shaka uniting the tribes into a single Zulu nation and whatnot. And then we see Cape Town, colonial Africa for the British and whatnot. And, it's January 1823. And Britain is trying to expand northward from there. And we get a glimpse of the governor, Lord Charles Somerset. And, he sends a communique or message to London. And, and talks about how Shaka is known as a mass murderer, a depraved ogre, whose conquest knows no limit. Notice how when it's them, they will embellish everything. It's just like, and you're going to see this, throughout how it's just like Dr. Amos Wilson said. They turn you into they call you savage to I always have it. They call you savage so they can treat you as one. Nah, it's escaping me now. But yeah, dang. Usually that's not like me, but oh well. But yeah. And after that, we go to London, and we're at the palace and whatnot. And we know that this is the reign of King George IV, during this time. If you want to put us in this timeline, yeah, we still, picking rice and cotton and whatever, in them chains and things. Some of us are free, some of us are not free. Some of us went on that dang on Underground Railroad or whatever. Some of us got to Canada, whatever. But that's what we're doing in the colonies or the newly formed United States of America. Building DC or whatever. Who knows? But but we're in London and we at the palace, and Buckingham Palace, whatever. And we see Lord Bathurst, he's ready to meet King George, and he's the first one that's going to be to see him. And then you got the white butler, and it's like, His Majesty has wakened from a good moment's rest, morning's rest, nice rest, whatever. And then you had this, this tussled up white girl come out, because what she was doing last night. And she just smiling like, you ain't the queen, chick. I mean, it's just, but yeah, she just, she that, she just famous, But it's funny how, after the butler says that, people just clapping, then, Lord Baptist, he goes in and he sees, the king, and he got another chick in there, that looks the same as, so you already know, he had a, he had a three-way. Priest, brother, Degon Jr., what's up with you? And he had a chick, also another chick in there playing the harp. And basically, well, Lord Baptist is looking at this like, come on. He's like, come on, Your Majesty. Like, really? And, what's weird is, Lord Baptist is talking to him and whatnot, but he's holding a sausage in an appropriate way if you are a guy. And then the way he's trying to eat that thing, it just made me question everything about King George. It is so. I'm just gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if he was looking at the chick and he did, bruh. That's no. That's not how. No, you do not. That is not sexy. We just gonna say that is not manly and that is not sexy. But one thing that Lord Baptist says, because he works in the colonial office, and he says, if one's dealing with, melting pots, one is apt to be scorched, once or twice, which was an interesting thing to say, when this dominant society is called a melting pot, but it's always a lot of scorching, as a lot of scorching and burning at the bottom and overflowing and bubbling, it's a lot, so, but yeah. And, then he talks about, the Zulu, and, in the South. And he talks about, how, there's a, they have a large population. Then you have the king say, oh, they do multiply, don't they? Like bunnies, King George is such a fop. You know what I'm saying? Usually at this time you expect that, from the French, but Britain is like, whoa, look at him. He's basically in a, got a robe on, but he's basically in a dress that's frocked. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's just, he just, like I said, I'm side-eyeing dude, but just notice how every time, they, the dominant society do talk about, the other, they go into how, their mating and procreation habits, like that's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? They do, they do multiply, don't they? Yeah, because we that potent. Get like us. Like, hey. Okay, we ain't gonna go there. But yeah, what I'm saying? We don't struggle. So then he goes to the window and, Lord Baptist is talking about Shaka, and how, like this is one March hare, and, George is just giving out solutions like, well, send in our Bengali troops from India. And then Lord Baptist is like, and lose India. Well, send some mercenaries. Not to be trusted, sire. Like, public, who says that? Your own words, sire. He's just getting fed up. And he points out to the window and he says, what's that, Lord Baptist? And he's like, rain. He's like, and how, much does it rain here? Quite often, sir. And what do the colonies represent for us, Lord Baptist? And he says, sunshine, sire. And it's like, precisely. Then he goes into how Thomas Jefferson, drove my father out of his wits, which, King George III, revolution, and Revolutionary War, so-called Revolutionary War, whatever. And then he tells them, tend to the Zulus better, or we'll find somebody, or it'll be our duty to replace someone who can, But Lord Baptist got this look on his face like, what did you just say to me? You short, goblin look, but it is what it is. And so he meets with, Lord Baptist meets with two other guys who you pretty much are going to see on the expedition. And he talks, about how to basically get Shaka. And he decides to, send someone there. And I like how, he says, we're going to send somebody, a lunarian, and, he says, wait, hold on, Shaka, we know what you're doing, we know what you're thinking, but watch this, we have, spears that shoot out fire, and a bunch of stuff. And then he says, and one other thing we have, civilization, years of tried and tested double talk. Here it comes from, the youngest of the bunch telling me that they have civilization, civilization. When they were given it, it ain't like they created it themselves. We all know that. But hey, it is what it is. But but look at the pattern. You see that with a lot of indigenous people or interactions with indigenous people. Watch, we got guns, bang, we got whiskey. You want some? We got pots, tink tink. We'll give this to you for $1. Or whatever, just that, like they like we always say, their ice is better, and that's how they. But if we could see that is just colonial double speak, for conquest, maybe we get the message then, but he goes on to say, if we cannot soothe the savage beast, we can at least confuse them, until we can, train, proper, form of military response, which was interesting. I like him saying that because, you can't, basically, coax him to your side. The best thing you can do is confuse your enemy, and wait for the cavalry, which should be arriving directly, really showed how they pit the colonies against one another and still do get on our level. Yeah. They do that. Well, they pit tribes against one another, what I'm saying? And whatnot. And that's divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? That's a strategy or a tactic. And then one of the guys that's there, he says, I have the precise guy you want. And he says, and I have pleasure of serving with him in His Majesty's Navy. Lieutenant Francis George Farewell, and then you see this, this guy taking a bath, you know what I'm saying? And, he talks about how he wants to reach, Shaka through the sea, because if you go through land like a doctor did, he said that he was never heard from again. You know what I'm saying? So the best point of reaching Shaka would be through sea and through Port Natal. You know what I'm saying? But he says that, so they ask him, basically, oh, so you want to join in? He said, of course, Tim, of course. I would love to serve my king, you know what I'm saying, and collect the ivory. You know what I'm saying? He already got a scheme, in play. You know what I'm talking about? And his scheme is to get the ivory, you know what I'm saying? And he says, oh, Natal's supposed to be, haven for ivory hunters, And then he talks about, the crew and the men he want to get, and he says he needs a certain man of a certain caliber. Men and men of this caliber are often greedy. You know what I'm saying? And he says how the courage shall be paid in ivory. You know what I'm saying? And then he's one thing I like when he says, what you want me to tell them? That you're doing it for the glory, the honor of your king and the glory of Britannia. I need courage, not patriotism. You know what I'm saying? I always used to like that line. You know what I'm saying? Because that's sometimes what you need. You need courage, not patriotism. This ain't the time. This is business. You know what I'm talking about? And so he goes on with talking, and he says that we have to convince Shaka that Britain is his is superior, when in fact we are not a match for him. He's smiling when he's doing it. Peace, pretty Tony. But and he does with a smile, and then he goes into say, centuries of enlightenment do not necessarily make a country or its people militarily stronger. Indeed, as until the Hun proved, domestication is a weakening factor. Which, if you ask me, Attila the Hun might have sort of proved it, but to me, Genghis Khan really proved that. You know what I'm saying? Because he was going against the enlightenment of Asia, which is far more older than wherever the West has. You know what I'm saying? Far more older. And here you got these, these barbaric horse riders from, that's next to Russia, on, that live on the steppes and whatnot. And they come and go through the wall and, actually get to China. You know what I'm saying? But then it's that enlightenment that will be the undoing of the Mongol Empire. But that's not here or there. But that's just to prove that, whatever they say, whatever. And so he says, no, we got to find another emotion like pride or vanity. And then his wife, Elizabeth comes in and says, vanity, Francis, vanity be the man's undoing, whether he be Britain, Huns, or Zulus, or whatever. And, as she's in the room, you see the old dude just eyeing her and whatnot, like, hey, hey, babe, whatever. And he introduces his wife to him, And so after that, because actually Farewell has this idea basically of starting his own trading company, Farewell Trading Company, for the ivory, so he's already thinking, hey, I'm a hit this lick, but I'm also, what I'm saying, gonna start up a company so I can get some more money, So he goes to Cape Town with his wife or whatever, and he meets the governor. And the governor, is reading back the letter from Lord Baptist, talking about how basically it's a letter of introduction, to Farewell, and what's his mission and what he's supposed to do, and the governor's like, you know, I'm expecting, troops and whatnot, but you gonna end up killed or whatever. And so they go out basically he's like, I need a drink. He really is like, man, after this letter and just looking at you, I need a drink. And so they go out on the veranda or whatever, and Farewell is telling him his plan about making an alliance with Shaka. And then the governor says, alliances ought to be made for civilized people, not savages. Um which was interesting, but hey, that's how they see you. I'll tell you that right now. That's how they see you. Alliances ought to be made for civilized people, not savages. And then the pastor there talks about, how the Zulus and Shaka, are pagans, and pagans lack reason. And here comes, Farewell saying, pagans, you say? Well, wasn't Cicero pagan? You know what I'm saying? Or Julius Caesar, Tacitus, Virgil, Socrates, Aristotle, and then passages like those were enlightened men. Shaka is a barbarian, an assassin. Then he goes on saying, so was Charlemagne in his very own special way. You know what I'm talking about? I used to like that line. For some particular reason, I used to like when he said, so was Charlemagne in his very own special way. Not Charlemagne the God, okay? The real Charlemagne. But so the governor's like, well, I'm not okay with, I'm giving you okay for this expedition or whatever. But then, you have the other guy that came with Farewell, and he's like, well, Mr. Lieutenant Farewell's, they say lieutenant, but Lieutenant Farewell's mandate comes from Downing Street, which basically is the street, for Parliament or whatever, for London, and he says this comes from Downing Street, so you have to help him out. You have to give all your resources to help him out. But he says it real shakingly, because he's like, oh no, you might chop my head off if I say something. And so Farewell leaves the table, and here comes a Dutch representative, we'll say, called Mr. Vector. And Mr. Vector wants to go, with Farewell, and he speaks the Xhosa language. He don't say it because it sounds like Tosa, but we know it's Xhosa. I always got to make sure you click. So if I don't say it right, at least they can say, at least he clicked. He made sure he clicked. Gotta show your respect. You know what I'm talking about. At least you try. But so Mr. Vector tells him about Mr. Finn. And Mr. Finn, which Henry Francis Finn, which is, one of the people who really in real life meets Shaka. You know what I'm saying? In real history, there's only two people: Henry Francis Fenn and a young boy. I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Isaacs. Okay, and the young boy um, grows up. Even after meeting Shaka, he grows up to be a slave trader. That's one thing. A little bit, but after all of that, he goes to meet Mr. Finn, and they basically at a slave prison. Look like something we know about. You see these, all these, slaves, huddled up together in chains and on the walls and everything. It's not Elmina, but is it Elmina? I forget some days. But yeah, it's in the South. And one thing, Finn says, he because Farewell says, "What do you know about Shaka Zulu?" And then everybody, starts murmuring. You know what I'm saying? And then Finn's like, "Does that answer your question?" He goes and talks about these tribes. You know what I'm saying, that were leaving, running away from Shaka, and he talks about them like, if you'd like me to say or whatever, they are the wandering Jews of Africa, fleeing the Pharaoh Shaka, into the Babylonian captivity. Nah, they are not Khazars, but they are the wandering. Well, we know who they are. We don't have to say it, but they are not the wandering Khazars. Okay, but so um, Finn joins the party. You know what I'm saying, and then you see, Farewell and them. They are starting to recruit, a crew. Then you see one interesting character. Um, yeah, one interesting character called Zacharias Abraham. Speaking of Khazars, and he's the leader of the commercial community in Cape Town. Mm. What I'm saying? And he talks about how Britain's going to need trade and whatnot, and he wants to pave a way for the Britain and be a loyal British subject coming from them. It is what it is. But yeah, and so you know Farewell, says goodbye to his wife, and they sell off, and all they doing is going from one side of the South to the other side, so they're just going around, but they encounter a storm, and it sinks the ship, right? But some of the crew make it to land, and then all of a sudden you see the crew, and they about to encounter, basically a Zulu division. I like to call it division, but a Zulu regiment. You know what I'm saying? And who's out in the front? They don't say his name, but I know it's Kapose. And they encounter one of the guys, and he got long blonde hair, and Kapose, cuts his hair, and the guy's like, I just say, "Get your hand off me, you, you dang old dirty ape." You know what I'm saying? That's his look, right? And Mr. Factor starts, speaking the language, and they like him and the other German like, "He speaking?" And so they they swipe, they basically arrest Mr. Fat Thing, he says, I think it's just the language. They just take me for the language. I see what I can do. You know what I'm saying? And then, Pharaoh, Finn's like, what we gonna do? It's like, what else can we do? But wait, you know what I'm talking about? And that's the end of the first episode. And then at the end, you go have the day go into thing that was the opening thing, and that's what I like about it. So yeah, that's episode 1. You know what I'm talking about? Like I say, we going from end to beginning to end in this series. You know what I'm talking about? And so now we are in episode 2, right? And at the start, right, we at Quabblewail. Don't know what the name means, the place of killing or the place of the killing, whatever. And it's Shaka's Crawl or Corral, but Crawl. And it's December 1823. And Shaka's basically looking at the blonde hair, and he meets Mr. Factor, and he talks to his prime minister Gomani, and he's like, Gomani, what you think about this? And he says, scouting party. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Fett, comes in and tells Shaka about himself. He's a teacher. I teach children and whatnot, and at the start, Shaka's like, what is your tribe? And he says, the Dutch. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And he writes Shaka's name, on cowhide and whatnot. But it's spelled like Shaka, like you would Shaka Stevens. If y'all know who that really is. They spell it like her name. You know what I'm talking about. Funny how that girl got 2 great names, Shaka and Khan. Ain't that something? But and all that hair. But they spell it like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for us, for being from home, I always say Shaka Stevens. But so he said, and Shaka say, what is that? And he says that is the written interpretation of your name, basically. And he says, writing is supposed to, store ideas and make sure that what you say is exactly as you say. And he says, I got messengers for that. You know what I'm saying? And he says, there are, the way to. And after he says all of that, pretty much, Shaka says, the only way, to store ideas, feelings, is in the mind and in the heart. You know what I'm saying? I like, because actually, that's some wise words, Like, Shaka ain't no dummy, you know what I'm saying? Of course, he says, if my messages misrepresent me, they are dead. You know what I'm saying? He ain't scared to kill nobody, but we know that, but Pete is made an honorary Zulu and is Shaka's interpreter. He's like, if you do well, you be rewarded handsomely. But if you fail me, I kill each and every member of your party. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no joke, already. But what is cool about that scene as well, you got Shaka all ripped, and you got the homies in the back on goons, you know what I'm saying? They just like, what? You see these bros in the back, this guy, you know what I'm saying? You like, man, hey. It's like looking at Debo, you know what I'm saying? Debo and this guy. I ain't messing with them. You gonna be like, homie, you gonna get yours, B. You gonna get yours. You know what I'm saying? Just look at them. I mean, they just like, what? Yeah, ain't nobody messing with Shaka's clique. I'm telling you that right now. Look at look, and then just got stern faces like, that was cool about that scene. You know what I'm saying? So, um, after that, um, basically, Pete is taken out of basically the royal crawl, and basically, Shaka's talking to Guamani, you know, and he says he talks about their friendship at first, you know what I'm saying, and then say you my friend Gomani. He's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, even though I could take your life at a moment's notice, and he says, we share a common, was it common ground, um, but a common life, which is my own. Don't expect me to always get the words right, but yeah. And then he says, and so it will be with the white man. You know what I'm saying? When they realize my capabilities to destroy their people at a moment's notice, then I'll discuss friendship. You know, thank you, brother Antonio. That's what our friendship is based on: a common life, my own, endeavor. But but what I like about that line is Shaka's already telling you how you deal with foreigners. You know what I'm saying? That's how you should really deal with them. Because that's where a lot of indigenous tribes or whatever, or indigenous confederacies, nations, that's where they messed up at. They welcome white folks with open arms. Like, hi, we're so glad to see you. Instead of saying, nah, son. No. When they realize that I can, straight wreck them, we'll talk friendship after that. But until then, I ain't welcome. Nah, I don't know them. I don't know you, son. You know what I'm saying? I don't know you like that. But that's the way it should be. You know what I'm saying? That's what he got right. In statecraft. You know what I'm saying? Don't let your enemies get too close, especially at the first meeting. Nah, son, nah, you ain't getting that close to me. Keep keep your cholera-ridden hands off my beautiful black skin. But yeah, so then we see basically Fairwell and company. They're rucking through the country, to Quara Bulawayo. And one thing that is noticed, at least by Finn as he's narrating all this, is that the regimental crawls, were marked at 10 to 20 mile intervals. You know what I'm saying? Which basically was showing how, the army could, basically be assembled at a moment's notice because they're so close together, and you can easily, get a large army there to the capital or wherever in no time, which was very smart. Very smart in military structure. To have a base 10 to 20 miles. You know what I'm saying? And bam, easy mobility, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying. Sounds like police stations. Yeah. Well, you got to remember that there's no jails because, like Dr. John would say, we did not have a word for jail because nobody had gone to one, because it always does, cataracts. But we don't need police stations. We got a military. What we need police stations for? Don't none of us do no crimes. You get it? Which just goes to show you who the real criminal or criminal minded is. All I need is the military. What do I need to police my people for? They ain't about to steal, because they know what will happen if they do steal. But hey, so yeah, but that was smart. Police stations are there to control. We know why they're there. It ain't the same reason. You know what I'm saying? One is to protect the state. The other one is to patrol and to control, as they said in Panther. And it ain't the same thing. You know what I'm talking about. But and so Farewell and them, they cross a funeral procession, right? And Finn sees the girl moves, and so he stops the procession. He's like, put her down. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this out right now. There is a lot of TNA, and hey, it be lit and it be on fleek. I'm saying it right now, so I don't have to say it again. Because all through this series, yeah, we gonna look. So, hey, it is what it is. But hey, but just think about that. You know what I'm saying? Not from a sexual space, but just think that a woman can be out there like that and still be completely covered. Let's just say it like that. She can have all of that thickness out and still be covered. She's covered by somebody. You can have all that out and still be covered. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, in today's society, you have all that stuff out and you spend it for yourself if anything happens to you. But look, a chick can have all of that goodness out and she's covered. That's something to think about. I'm just gonna say it. Oh, brother Antonio, man, let me tell you. And what's so beautiful about it at times is they ain't got hair all down their back. And they still beautiful, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. But just think about that concept though. You can be in your birthday suit and still be covered. Still be covered. Somebody's still gonna marry you, gonna protect you, and whatever. And you just in the wind. You don't gotta worry about no rape. You don't gotta worry about somebody looking at. Well, they're gonna look at you like that, but it's not at the forefront of the, basically the person's mind. But you find that that's something to really think about, and maybe that's something to be studied or whatever. But it is what it is. So Finn's like, put her down. And basically Kaposa, he warns them, don't interfere. Don't interfere. And Finn interferes anyway, you know what I'm saying? And they take the girl back to the crawl, and as they heal the girl, one thing that is noticed that the Royal regiments are steadily passing that village, which also a smart thing. You got a regiment all the time of the night patrolling. You know what I'm saying? You hear them like 24/7. Somebody you gonna hear those grass and rustling with feet. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, smart. The setup for all of this is smart, ingenious. One thing, like I say, can be studied in officer training, whatever you want to call it, military science. But yeah. Um, so the girl wakes up, and the Insangoma, or the shaman or healer, whatever you want to say, storms out, and afterwards, Pharaoh wants to use, the girl's resurrection to their advantage. You know what I'm saying? And Finn's like, I don't want no part of it, but he really don't have a choice, And so, one thing is that's mentioned is also that the Zulus call them swallows, because like that magical bird we have magically come, from the sea. And then we see basically the Isangoma of the king, we just say like that, and the most powerful, and the oldest is the Tai. Tai goes, and meets Shaka, and she tells him, don't meet with the whites, and then she says, those who wish to be served by magic often becomes its servants. Message. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's a message. I don't watch this movie a long time. I keep on saying movie, but this television series most of my life, and that line didn't drive home, or it didn't never spark my light bulb, never clicked in my head till I saw it again, and I really paid attention, and I was like, whoa. You see what she saying? It's like, did you see what she just said? So I'm gonna say it again. Those who wish to be served by magic often become its servants. Write that down or whatever you want to do, but I'm gonna tell you, let that go into your mind, because there's a lot of people that become the servants of magic, for that very same reason. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, you are Zulu, you possess the heavens. And then, Shaka goes back and he says, if what they say is true, then the Sangoma possesses powers that we cannot ignore. I want those powers at my service. I always like that line. But hey, there's a lot of lines I like in this dang on movie. But and then, after he says that, she just gets up and walks away. But before she leaves, and he burns the basically the cowhide that his name and Pete's name is written on, she turns around and she says, remember the condition of the prophecy. Do not defy the ancestors by reaching for powers that are not of your heritage, or the heavens will destroy you through your own blood or shadow. I never paid attention to that line. And now I did. That is foreshadow, and that is a warning. Next time when the dang on priest tell you, especially the high priest, is telling you all of this stuff, listen to them. Let this be a lesson. When the priest tells you what's going to happen, what you should do, and what's going to be the consequence if you don't do it, listen to them. Especially when you got a real one. Forget the fake ones. We talking about the real McCoy here. Likes to tie. She told Shaka. She told him. Basically, she told him, remember the condition of your birth and your destiny. That's all it is. Because you're going to hear the condition of prophecy more than once throughout this movie. But she says, remember the condition of the prophecy. And do not defy the ancestors, by reaching for powers that are not of your heritage. And a lot of indigenous people could have learned that lesson. Don't do it. She's already telling you, don't do it. You know. You know what I'm saying? So another good line right there. And so she leaves. And then here we go with one of my favorite parts, what I like to call the March of the Regiments. You got the army just getting together, you know, they marching and whatnot, and all of them looking good. Look, you got the females in their own little camp, man. I mean, then you got the females on the side, they you know, yelling and singing, and you got the drums playing, you know what I'm talking about? Everybody getting it, we lit. You know, one thing I like about, you know, throughout this whole, you know, movie is that basically for me they call cadence what we know in the military is cadence, you know, basically singing and you can tell we can because something I can't unless you've been in the military. It is something about running and calling cadence that is just in here. You know what I'm talking about? Sister Kashia, I know you could probably get what I'm saying right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest, there's this one song that we sang when we was running. Usually I'm about to fall out. I'm about to fall the line. But once I hear this one song, and it ain't much, when that left foot hits the ground, all I want to hear is that rock sound. Rock, rock. And then, bro, when I hear that, I get to getting on beat and I start stomping, and all of a sudden, I'm at the front. I start all the way at the bottom, and then I'm just, because I'm already in syncopation with the breathing, and I'm on my footing, and I know where to go. And I'm just getting it, and I'm getting it, and I'm getting it. Then all of a sudden, once they change the dang cadence, I'm off again. You know, like, you know, it lifts your spirits. My breathing is on point. And there's somebody to change the dang on song. And I'm like, I can't breathe. But that's the beauty. That's probably how we gotta run a military style of exercise when it comes to running. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Sister Quinn. I'm like, I'm tired. Oh, I look, I was already tired before the song, but I was in high spirits. And I would forget everything. I would forget by being tired. I'd be like, yeah, let's get it. Then all of a sudden, they done changed the dang on song to something else that I wasn't feeling. I'm like, I'm tired. Can we stop now? I really want to stop. I'm done. Can we go back to the song? You keep on playing that song till we get to our destination. And you say we can stop. I will go as far and I will go wherever you tell me. But once you change that song, I'm done. I'm done. But that's the beauty of this whole scene, bro. I mean, they ain't Sister Queen, they ain't two-stepping. that is, to me, that is cadence. And you can tell, you know what I'm saying, because they running and then they getting they marching on. One thing, you know what I'm talking about, what the beauty of the Zulus is, man, they get them high kicks, man. Bruh. To me, and they slap the ground with them kicks, man. It's like you can teach a whole military science about that. You know, how you kick so dang on high and so powerful like that. You don't see that if you ask me, you don't see that in Chinese martial sciences, and that's just from dancing and militarization and all of that. You know what I'm saying? The women do it too. You know, and it's just amazing. You know, all that thickness and this girl, pow. You know, leg can go all the way, all the way up to her head. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's beautiful, that scene, right? And so, look, I love that scene. And so, basically, farewelling them, they reach Quabble, and they look, through the telescope, and Finn's like, oh, you want to report back to the colonial's office? It's just 8 words, you've not got a cash chance in hell. You know what I'm saying? And Gomani says, they got to stay there. And Gomani and his regiment starts going on. You see everybody like, hey, he come home, he come general, he come general. And he goes, basically into the, the Royal Interior. I'll just say that, where Shaka and them is. And, Shaka's getting dressed, you know what I'm talking about to, start stunning on him. And, Gomani, Composer. I sometimes get them mixed up. But Composer is like, the rights have arrived. And, Shaka asked, that girl, that they said they resurrected, what she really did. And, Composer says, in my opinion, she was. And, Shaka's just fawning over their magical whatever. And he says to Shaka, the whites are magicians, Shaka. They work in illusion. You've taught us to live in reality. You know what I'm saying? Even if the whites, have 100 lives each, those lives be not worth a single dedicated life of one Zulu, because we are superior. And then Shaka, replies, the leopard is also superior, Composer. His, he's the sovereign among the masters. His proud day of life is, is worth 100 days in the life of a raven. Yet if the leopard were offered wings to fly, he will be foolish, to refuse them. And then here comes Composer. He's like, no, Shaka. The leopard's kingdom is the earth. On the earth, he is the master. It's in the sky, it becomes a victim. If the whites offer you wings to fly, it's because they wish to make you their victim. You know what I'm saying? And so he tells, go get them, inform them, that they're the instant Goma and their chief, can come into the roll call. And he says, and Composer, never abuse our friendship again, and says, and then he goes, tell them what's what. And so Finn and Farewell, they ride into camp. You hear, Farewell, he's like, shoulders back, chin up, pretend like we rule the world. And Shaka, and as they, ride or whatever, they see Mr. Factor, and he says, and they ask him, where is he? He's up there watching. And then he says, he's much interested in your horses and their speed and endurance, And so they start racing, riding around, the crawl, or the courtyard, I just say it like that. And Shaka then sends runners, to race Finn and Farewell's horses, right? And so as they going around, in circles or whatever, eventually, the runners lose, they get tired, what I'm saying? Because they sprint, what I'm saying? And they just fall out, what I'm saying? It's like they fall at the same time, but it is what it is. And Shaka meets, Finn and Pharaoh. He uh, walks in, but when he walks in, he got, his basically his criers and his entourage, the royal entourage, whatever you want to call them, and the theme songs playing in the background and whatnot. Everybody looking all regal and kingly and stately and whatnot. Talk about it. And Finn and Pharaoh look at this, and Finn's like, your colonial office don't know what they are dealing with here after he sees that. You know what I'm saying? And so, Shaka goes to where they are, and he's touching the horse and whatnot, and they offer him a boost, to get on the horse, because even though he's tall, he still can't get up on that horse. So they help him up, and he rides around, with his spear, around, basically around the courtyard, and Finn says, by proving that he can tame that animal, he's trying to prove to himself that he can tame us. You know what I'm saying? Which, hey, that's the mindset, a ruler needs to have, when dealing with a foreign foe. I would say that, don't look to be subjugated, be the subjugator. You know what I'm talking about. And so after that, Shaka sits down, they have him court or whatever, and the whites are giving him gifts, but what's noted by Finn is that, Shaka dismissed them gifts, as he was unimpressed. You know what I'm talking about. And he immediately just, give give the gifts so the royal ladies can see, which was smart. As a guy, no guy is really impressed by gifts. That's what Shaka's saying. I ain't impressed by all that. But please give it to the women. Which, as you can see, the women were looking like, especially that one, always smiling and cheesing and giggling. Basically the maid, the barmaid, whatever. Man, what was her name? I forget her name, but yeah. And Farewell says this is from his brother King George, and you looking, but it's interesting, yeah, Brother Antonio. But it's interesting that he says that because you notice that every time there's an encounter with indigenous people and foreign, and Westerners, they'll say that about their king. This is your brother. What I'm saying? Man, my brother. We ain't come from the same womb. What I'm saying? But they try to get that similarity or whatever. And which is crazy, what I'm talking about. But it's a tactic, like you're the same as our king. You know what I'm saying? When you're not. They're gassing you up, son. Like for real. And Shaka asked for Finn's glasses, right? And then he puts on the glasses, and then he says, this man doesn't want to see the world as it truly is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you ever wear glasses, you know that prescriptions are different. But I like how he says that. Very interesting thing to say. Yeah, a little too friendly. She was a little too friendly. But as you see, Brother Antonio, Shaka stopped that. Bambata. And she snapped back down to his feet. I don't want to say what's in my mind, but he like, chick, come here, bring look. He said that chain, chick, bring your butt back here. Which was also smart because you got some, well, forget it. Some females that are so gullible, that'll happen to them. You know what I'm saying? And there has to be a male entity that also shows protection. I just not think about that. You know, she's gullible and giggling and like, oh, look at the white boy. You know, and then here comes Shaka. Bring your little butt back down to my feet. Get away from them, them ugly white boys. You know. Yeah. Hey, brother. Hey, Pretty Tony. she want to see a new face. See, you know what? No. I'm not going to say what I want to say. I'll probably tell you after the segment if she want to see a new face. But anyway, but that show protection and direction, and stop a chick from being a bad witch. But that's how you stop a chick from being a bad witch. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You know, you grab her by the collar and say, "Bring your butt back." Well, it look like she going. Come back here. Hate to say it, but you got to grab that leash. Because if you just let her stray, but that's the beauty of that scene, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? But after that, Shaka asked at first, where's the box that plays music? And then one of the guys is like, how the hell does he know? And then Pharaoh was like, because a man of his stature got eyes and ears everywhere. Now get going. You know what I'm saying? Which also shows a smart thing that he's not dumb, but it also shows that he does have an intelligence wing, among his empire. He does have spies. He knows certain things about them. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been informed. Goes with statecraft. Always be informed on your foe. Especially for the first meeting. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And so after that, the resurrected girl is brought to court, basically. And then Shaka asks, in your country, whom does life belong? Is it the king or to his subjects? And then Finn is like, every man, is lord of his own life, whatever, and free to do whatever he please, king included, spend some real Christian stuff, but it is what it is, right? And and then he says, so your king send you to war? And then Pharaoh says yes, and do you die in war? And Pharaoh says yes. And then he says, then you are wrong. It is your king, who controls life. And then he goes on to say, here life belongs to Shaka. Her life belongs to Shaka. And you have no right, to basically interfere or resurrect her, without the great elephant's permission. And then after that, they stab that chick with the spear and she ends up dead. You know what I'm saying? And then Gomana is like, if these white boys got, basically magic and we got to possess this, let them prove it. Let them resurrect her again. And then, Farewell says, we disobeyed, Shaka once. We're not going to do it again, unless he says so. Our powers, basically are at his disposal. And then, basically Shaka says, he wants them to resurrect her again. And, Pharaoh's like, Ben, resurrect her. He's like, you're out of your mind. He was like, no, but you were when you got us into this mess. It's amazing how Farewell could just switch it on and off throughout this whole movie. He's sort of like a kid in a retrospect, but he also switched to both sides. You gonna see that a lot, but he just does it. You know what I'm saying? At first he was praising him for doing it. Now he's like, but it's your fault we in this mess. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to use this to his advantage. Now he's like, man, you got us into this. Now resurrect her. So friend goes over and like about to pretend, he can resurrect her or whatever. But even he knows or observes that even Shaka sees that he knows he can't resurrect her. You know what I'm saying? Shaka sees that he can't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not in his power. He don't have magic like that, but he ignores it. That's the problem. That's the error. He ignores that he can't. These white men don't have the power that they say they do. He knows it already. He just proved it. By killing that girl, he proved you don't got the power that you say you do. You can't resurrect that girl. I may not know what a doctor is, but if you say you can resurrect her, already I could tell by your face you can't do it. But I'm gonna ignore it. And then here comes the music box, and the music box is running, and the music box is playing dun 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 dun. Okay, and once again, you got that girl. She's like, wow, basically. And then Shaka picks up the music box, and then you got, Finn narrating, and then that's the end of the episode. So, you know what I'm saying? Once again, got the background music, playing, getting lit, So, like I said, we're going to be like this all strong. Well, all following strongs pretty much. Going with this energy. But as you can see, I didn't, like I said, I've always watched this film, but I never really picked up on all of this until actually now. I just watched it because it was cool, like I used to say, for me, as a little kid, Shaka Zulu was a hero. He was a superhero, what I'm saying? That you want to be, which I guess all little melanated boys should look at him as a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Not Spider-Man or Miles Morales. Well, see a superhero, look at what he did. You know what I'm saying? Because hey man, if you look at just, the things that he did and what he changed. And mind you, this is the South. This is South Africa, what I'm talking about. And peace, Brother Logan. Not Judas. That Judas showed up. Maybe, when Lord Baptist is talking to King George the Fourth. And at the start, Lord Baptist is saying there's a problem with the colonies, and then King George is like, "What is it? Is it the Canadians?" And then he says, "No, Your Majesty, I'm Canada is still under our thumb. Which interesting. Hey, who knew? But it is what it is. When I thought of that line, I really thought of you, and whatnot. But like I say, during this whole series, I mean, this is just the beginning. You know what I'm talking about? And basically, from here on out, we're gonna put a pin at this point, and then we're gonna go into the history. You know what I'm talking? Shaka's history. You know what I'm talking about? And that's when the stuff started getting good. Bruh. I can't wait for 2 to 3. Mainly probably because I can't wait, because that's when we gonna get into Mandy. Yes. That girl is beautiful. But you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's we gonna get into that part. You know what I'm talking about. It's good. It's good. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And I mean, from like I said, from 2 to like 4, and 2 to 4, but like the best parts of the series, I'll say from 2 to 4, and 5 or whatever you want to call it. But the midsection, bruh, it's just good. It's just nonstop. From before Shaka's born, and then when he grows up, and then takes power and all of that. From that segment, from those segments, oh man, those were my favorite episodes. They still are. You know what I'm saying? I would rather just stay at the middle for a little bit. Like, can we just stay right here for a little bit longer? Because it's that good. You know what I'm talking about? And it's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? That actually, if I want to see a remake, which it ain't gonna happen, at least not the way I want to see it, but I would like to see a remake of this, because it can be done, and it can be done good. You know what I'm saying? It can really be done good. You don't, and we can get into it, but you can't see no strong black male characters in in cinema. I ain't gonna let you have that. So it's wishful thinking, because they're gonna change something about him. They're gonna make him a bisexual, whatever. They're gonna do something. He's gonna have an Oedipus complex or something, whatever. They gonna mess it all up. You know what I'm talking about. But if there was a good remake that you could really make, you know what I'm saying, it's this. Matter of fact, I'm just not thinking about it. Sister Manera, you do resemble Nandy a little bit. Maybe around the eyes or something. I'm just not thinking about it. Yeah, y'all resemble each other a little bit. I'm just not thinking about that. Like, yeah. Same color skin and everything. I want to check that out. Maybe some of your people come from the South. Or Zulu land. You never know. Just not thinking about it. Yeah. Which is interesting because, like, if you ever seen this old movie called Zulu, which is based off of Warwick's Gerald, and the Zulu Wars in San Luana and whatnot. The chief that plays, Seswayo, he was actually related from his mother's side to, King Seswayo, And if you look at him, and then if you look at the old pictures of Seswayo, you see the family resemblance. You know, even if it's from his mother's side, you can see the family resemblance. Yeah, they can. And I looked, I was like, because I never paid attention to it, but I was like, yeah, him as a young man and him ain't, yeah, they do. They family, you know. But I never paid attention to it at that time, you know. But all of a sudden, yeah, they do look like family. Oh yeah, you can't have no funky man without the man. No, you can't. There's got to be something. He got to be chasing a white woman, a bisexual, got a mommy complex, you know, sell drugs, something. You know what I'm saying? He can't be running an empire. He can't be head of state and have a brain, you know, and no statecraft and whatnot, you know. He can't be doing that. He can't be sending white boys, you know. He can't be running them, you know what I'm saying? And not afraid of them, you know what I'm talking about. And he ain't sharing nothing, but that's gonna happen too. But that's in real life, that does happen, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, it is what it is, you know, in that sense, you know what I'm saying? But that's how they get you know what I'm talking about? So yeah, man. Shoot. I could go on and on about this because I mean, there's a part like in one where you see the homies and they hiding in, and you got the leader and he rocking back like, and he just got that little like, we do this all day. this how we roll, and then they go back to hiding in all. Some of us can't get our legs up that high, but if we can just get them up, hey. I tell you, you know, I'm like I say, I am going to enjoy myself with this series, you know, because I get back to shoot, kicking up my feet every time they get to the war dance, bruh. Yeah, let's get it, you know. I can't get my leg up. I ain't, you know, all the way up to my head, but I can do it too. I ain't trying to do all that. As long as I can do it, you know what I'm saying? I'm on beat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. That's bang. So next, strong. We doing okay. Peace, brother Antonio. They're strong. We doing, you know, 2 and 3. No. My bad. 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Which I can't wait because we get to see, you know, since Quana and Nandy and how they met and whatnot, you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's the start, you know, come out singing, you know what I'm saying, you know, but man, like I say, oh, I can't wait for next strong. I'm lit for that because those are my favorite, you know, got a bunch of favorite scenes and those episodes, right? And then 4 and 5, bro. Okay, so that's where we are with that, and my and I would say have fun with this. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, because in my mind I've been thinking about this, and I was like, you know, before people wanted to be you know, from the West or whatever, or like we was from, you know, we had a very strong connection with the South, you know, South Africa and the Zulus and whatnot, and Zimbabwe and whatnot, because we all fam, if you know the lineage. You know what I'm talking about. But peace, brother Logan. And so have fun and be observant, man, because like I say, I pull some of this stuff and it never clicked in my head. You know, that's what that scene meant, or that's what this teaches. Like I never thought about that scene with Satai. You know what I'm saying? Because I never really paid attention to what she was saying, probably. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of scenes, you know, pay attention to what is being said and pay attention to what's being done. Because I didn't look. all those levels of statesmanship that was really, like I say, Shaka was really on point, but he was messing up. You know what I'm saying? On point in certain areas, not on point in others. But those are teaching tools right there. You know what I'm saying? You can really take that, and apply it to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to statecraft, or even when you invite a guest to your homestead or whatever. You can use that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't about to meet my, my wife and them, you know what I'm saying? No, but stay over there. Then we'll talk friendship, or you can use it with business, business, economics, wherever, diplomacy, wherever, you can apply that, that method that you just seen in that movie, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? But give thanks everybody. Like I say, I'm too excited. This already got me lit. And then we get into the numbers, you know what I'm saying? First day, we get into the numbers, you know what I'm saying? And so that's gonna be interesting, you know. And so I will everybody have, a good rest of you strong, and be well. And shoot, I will see y'all, next strong, because we gonna, like I say, we gonna be in this, man. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love this. I got the nostalgia, everything. I can actually talk about this. So shalom everybody, and peace. So I will see y'all next strong. Give thanks.